Let's start with a concrete challenge for us. How high can you go with a snack bar? What do I mean? I mean, if I want to walk up, I don't know, up a mountain, how high can I go based on the energy that I have there? Question is clear? Any suggestions how to approach it? Okay, so one thing I want to know is like within an energy bar, how much calories do I have in it? And then what would you do next? And then how to translate between calories and energy into elevation. Okay, so let's try and do it together. So here's my snack bar. I'm wrapping it up, unwrapping it, and then I'm trying to think how many calories do I have in a snack bar. Anybody knows anything about caloric content of food? What?
You can burn it.
You can burn it. Okay, so one way is to burn it. We won't do it right now. Okay, so who heard this thing about this number of, say, 4 calories per gram for sugars? Anybody? Okay, so some of the people, maybe in associate.
7 for fat.
What?
7 calories for fat.
So I think 9 is often stated. And okay, so this is the sort of thing that you might know or not know. And as you remember in the spirit of the course, we want to know a few numbers that are actually useful in order to infer other things. And I think that's the kind of thing that's useful, is to know that like about 4 kilocalories per gram, that's for sugar. Oops. And 9 kilocalories per gram, that's for fat or lipids. And that's roughly what we're eating, right? What else are we eating?
Proteins.
Yeah, so proteins is also roughly the same number as here. Okay, so going back to our snack bar, what do we need to know next? Something about the weight of the snack bar. Anybody knows the weight? Okay, so I think we could do, I think 30 grams is what I heard here. I think I'll buy that for my snack bar. We could also do it, like a lower estimate and the upper estimate, the geometric mean or something like that. But let's go with 30 grams. And I think it's mostly sugar, although there is some fat in it. So altogether, the energy content is roughly 30 grams times 4 kilocalories per gram. So that's about 100 kilocalories. So far, so good. Okay. Still now, so we finished the first part. Now we need to go from this thing of kilocalories. By the way, this kilocalories, it might be a bit confusing because sometimes it's being talked as calories just, right? So there's this odd thing in nutrition that kilocalories is sometimes called big calories with a big C. And so what we're calling calories in nutrition is really kilocalories, which is thousands of calories. We'll see how that plugs into concrete calculation in a second. Okay, so we have that. And now how do we do the translation between eating this and climbing on a mountain? Okay, so there's like 2 suggestions here. One is through ATP, conversion to ATP, and how much ATP could help you. And that's a good one, although I would say a complicated one, because we have to see what's the conversion to ATP and how do you change ATP in your muscles into elevation, and then there's like another extreme, going back to our physics, mechanics background and talking about the fact that like if you want to go some height h, we know something about how much energy is associated with it. Anybody remember something? mgh, right. So the energy required is equal to m times g times h. If that doesn't ring a bell, I don't know. Okay, so now I want to connect, so I can try and connect between these two.
This will give like a maximum amount that you can.
Exactly.
It doesn't account efficiency.
Right. How high maximally? You are very right. And then we could also think about how can we make it more realistic. Probably we'll need to do, that's like the difference in a way between the second approach here and the first approach that talked about ATP and how that turns into something. So in general, I'm happy taking this path of if I don't know how to solve, the more realistic suggestion, I'm happy with solving a less realistic but, solvable. And then I could try and make all sorts of excuses or estimates, how much different it is. Okay, so in that spirit, I want to connect between this and that, but I have a bit of a problem. I know that the units that I'm getting here of energy, anybody remembers what are the units? Joules. Okay, great. So it gets in units of joules. So here is joules, and here is kilocalories. So I want to connect them somehow.
4.12
Okay, so 4.12 something something. Okay, let's forget about the point something. What is this for? It's exactly this thing that would translate us because we could, you remember we're always allowed to multiply by 1. So what is the 1 that I want to multiply here? There's about 4 joules per 1 calorie. Okay, that's the relationship, and there's like this thing that a calorie is what would take to raise a temperature of 1 milliliter of water, 1 degree, around, 20 degrees, all sorts of stuff. Doesn't matter. In the end, it's 4 joules per calorie. Which means that I'm getting here about 4, so 400, but this is kilocalories, 4,000, so it's 1,000. Okay, so I have about 400,000 joules. Yeah. Okay, so this is, so the question is why 4 divided by 1, right? Okay, so I'm doing this trick which is actually surprisingly useful and not completely always intuitive. Of like you multiply, I want to multiply by 1. What do I mean? I know that the conversion ratio is that every calorie is 4 joules. And then I'm doing this divided by this, and I'm also helping myself with the units, and then I know I'm right. Okay, so I have 400,000 joules, and that's supposed to be equal to my mgh. Okay, how much is m?
100.
Yeah, I like it. 100, so 10 to the 2 kilogram. How much is g?
10.
Okay, 10, and the units is acceleration. So it's meter squared second, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so we can solve it, right? So h is equal to 4 times 10 to the 5 divided by 10 to the 3, which is 4 times 10 to the 2, or 400 meters. Okay, so next time you want to climb Mount Metzada, you could eat a snack bar, and if you do it 100% efficiently, you can reach the top.
So, but this is if you climb up, if you on a rope. Not
If you
go on
Yeah, so next time you climb with a rope up Mount Metzada, 100% efficiency, you'll get it that way. Okay, so let's analyze this second. So there is this thing about the efficiency, and this thing with the rope is like thinking about the fact, we would just calculate just going up. And as pointed out here, you'll also be, you're taking some more, a more elongated path or not. Good, so we should take that into account. Okay, so don't take from this the message of my as a recommendation to what to pack next time you're going to Judea desert for a hike. It's more in order to give us this thing of how do we connect between this issue of like food, energy, and things we're interested in. Okay, that's the overall logic, and of course we did all sorts of simplifications here, and that's why it's just the maximal of going up a rope or whatever.